David Padgett, the interim coach, just 32 years old. He was born one day before his opposite number tonight. Jim Boeheim won his 200th game as head coach at Syracuse. That's tonight's fun fact. Mike Eads throws the ball in the air. We're underway. Syracuse, appropriately clad in orange, controlled the tip.
You're going to see Louisville tonight go in and out of a man-to-man at times, and they'll come down and set up in that matchup zone as well. Kind of looks like a 1-3-1 look from the top. Syracuse can't set up for jump shots. They've got to attack the middle part of that lane.
There's Battle, second leading scorer in the ACC behind only Duke's Marvin Bagley III. Down to 4 on the shot clock. Battle, nice bounce pass, and right as the shot clock expired, Marek Dolezaj missed from in close.
A lot of length inside for Louisville. I think Anas Mahmoud, number 14 in white there, it really bothered that shot. That should have been an easy opportunity there for Dolezaj.
And Mahmoud is the leading shot blocker in the ACC. Pascal Chukwu of Syracuse, number 2 in block shots, so we could have a few swats tonight. Quentin Snyder off the mark. Frank Howard swung it to O'Shea Brissett, and now Battle and Howard take most of the shots. They have combined to take 53% of all the Syracuse shots this year.
And part of that is their big guys on the interior aren't guys that you can throw the basketball into and get them buckets, and so those 3 guys have to carry the load on the offensive end.
Brissett the other, as Jim Boeheim says, essentially they play 3 against 5. The shot clock expiring, so Battle fired up that heave. And here's VJ King the other way for Louisville.
And Sean, against this zone, they've got to get that basketball into the ACC area and then work out. A guy like Anas Mahmoud can make that 15-foot jump shot, and he's an excellent passer as well.
There's his passing on display as he kicked it out to Deng Adel. The little floater is short. Mahmoud kept it alive for Louisville. VJ King for 3.
It's a big knockdown there for him. He's really been scoring the basketball well. 5 of 7 last games. He's been in double-figure scoring. They really need him to consistently knock down that 3 ball.
Including each of the last 3 in double figures for King. Each team coming off a loss Saturday. For Louisville, a loss here on Saturday against Florida State. Syracuse lost at home to Virginia. Scored 44 points against the Cavaliers. There's Frank Howard for 3. That was the fewest points Syracuse has ever scored in a game at the Carrier Dome. That's been their home since 1980.
Well, Sean, a lot of teams have been struggling against that Virginia defense. It's been absolutely outstanding. And the difference in that team this year is they have 3 guys on the floor on the perimeter that can really shoot the rock. This might be the most explosive offensive team I've seen Tony Bennett have in my 9 years at ESPN.
And counted a chance for a 3-point play. Malik Williams ran the baseline and got fouled by O'Shea Brissett. First foul on Brissett.
And you love the movement, folks. Watch where that basketball enters inside. We've already talked about how good of a passer Mahmoud is. And when you're out there on the perimeter, you can't stand, because oftentimes the defender is looking at the basketball. That was a great cut along the baseline by the freshman Malik Williams.
Doesn't get to the line much. Just his 14th attempt of the season. He made it. Freshman out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And Louisville, against this depleted Syracuse team, brings the pressure. They played only 6 men in that loss against Virginia on Saturday.
I think you may have to pull out your old uniform there. They could use some help.
I might have to. I think my eligibility has expired at the Harvard of Central New York, Syracuse University. Battle underneath. Chukwu had it blocked. That's Mahmoud, the number 1 shot blocker in the conference, blocking Chukwu, who's 2nd in block shots.
His reaction time, Anas Mahmoud, is really impressive. Just when you think you have an easy one on the inside, he denies that one. I love how he patrols and controls the red part of that court out there. He's an outstanding shot blocker.
76 for the year, 3.25 per game. That's 5th in the nation. Mahmoud trying to set up inside on Chukwu, and he scores. Working against his fellow shot blocker, the tallest player in Syracuse history, at 7 feet 2 inches.
And Sean, that's exactly what they worked on in their practice this afternoon, is getting that basketball into the bigs, having them pass it, and when they don't have the pass, is make a quick one-on-one move on the interior. Well executed there by Anas Mahmoud.
Howard tried to dump it down for Chukwu. He doesn't take many shots, a little more than 3 per game. He didn't take any in 26 minutes against Virginia.
Wow.
Dolezaj there to knock it in for the Cuse.
And those opportunities will be there because of how hard Louisville collapses on the basketball on the defensive end. That's one area where Syracuse may be able to get some easy buckets, something that haven't come very easily for them this year.
Foul underneath. It'll take us to our first media timeout. Chukwu called for the Syracuse foul. His first. 8-5 Cardinals on their home floor.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of
Phenomenal what he's done. Contributed to 58% of their offense by scoring and passing. Magnificent his play on this season.
Lob pass, and VJ King couldn't finish. Off the feed from Quentin Snyder, but there's another Syracuse foul, and it's on Chukwu. It's his second, and they cannot afford any foul trouble. We're unlikely to see Barama Sidibe, who's a 6'10 freshman who's played very well for Coach Boeheim. He's been bothered by knee and ankle injuries. He was out on the court warming up, but Coach Boeheim told us this afternoon it's unlikely he will play.
And that's unfortunate because he gives them some excellent production on the interior, not only with his shot blocking ability, but in their last game against Pitt, 18 points, 16 rebounds to go along with 3 blocks. So gives them a bit more on the offensive end than Chukwu does.
Slapped away from Howard, and he was the last to touch it. So Louisville takes it back on a turnover. They bring Ray Spalding into the game. And Williams goes out. Allison?
Yeah, Sean, Spalding able to play despite spraining his ankle in the last game against Florida State. It was his right ankle. He actually rolled it earlier in the game, sprained it at the end, but he said he got a lot of therapy yesterday and he's good to go.
DJ King traveled before he went up for the shot.
Sean, this afternoon, Ray Spalding looked pretty good, pretty spry. They were doing a little 3-man weave drill, getting up the floor. He'd dunk a few, shoot his little J, do some post moves. So he looked pretty good, and he's moving pretty well tonight as well.
He's an important player for them. They're leading rebounders among the ACC leaders in block shots and steals. Dolezaj had an open path to the bucket. When they lost here Saturday, Louisville, when they lost to Florida State, they had some uncharacteristic defensive breakdowns, and there was another one.
And no communication there on the backside, and just lost sight of where Dolezaj was.
Adele no. Matthew Moyer, who came in for Chukwu, went out with the 2 fouls, got a hand on the rebound. Brissett for 3, and it spins off to Spalding, who's averaging more than 9 rebounds per game. He's 4th in the ACC at 9.2. Mahmoud, the running hook, kept alive by Spalding and run down by Snyder.
Well, Louisville has had success as they've been able to screen the top of it or make a direct pass to the ACC area. They've got to get back to that. Keep milking it until Syracuse just makes the adjustment and stops it. Nice pass.
To Mahmoud. Off the pass from Spalding. 4 points for Mahmoud. He'll have a chance for a 5th as he's fouled.
Yeah, Mahmoud and Spalding do a great job of finding one another. Watch as this basketball hit the short corner. Mahmoud dives there. A nice little bounce pass underneath by Ray Spalding. I love bigs who can pass, and those 2 guys can really pass.
Foul was on Moyer, his first. 5 points for Mahmoud. He averages 7.5 per game. Battle averaging more than 19 per game for the Cuse. Had an outstanding year, and that's with a lot of the focus of the defense on him. Bodies flying, a lot of steps, no whistle. Mike Eads, Michael Stevens, 2 of those 2 were in the national championship game in Phoenix. Two of the officials here tonight working with Keith Kimball.
I thought Ryan McMahon, number 30 in white, I thought he flopped on that one going inside. Tyus Battle thinking he's got a mismatch with him, and so he's going to try to isolate him in space. Watch McMahon, he just basically slipped. I thought that should have been a foul.
Then Dolezaj got called for his first for Syracuse. 5 team fouls already against the Orange. Mahmoud, too much dribbling, lost it. Howard trying to attack, and he laid it in.
And that's an area where I'd like to see Syracuse excel even more. Really look to push the pace on turnovers and miss shots, because they have the athletes who can get out and finish in transition.
When they get into half quarters, we said usually at the most they have only 3 players on the court who you really have to worry about guarding.
And this is where Syracuse is at their best. Their guards are 6'5", 6'6" across the front, and when they can get a little turnover, they are terrific at finishing in transition. I'd like to see more of that as this game progresses.
Little jump hook by Ray Spalding Jr. from right here in Louisville, out of Trinity High School. You saw him in person have a huge night in their win against Notre Dame mid-January. Career high 23 points, 12 rebounds.
And why'd you have to just go and bring up that Notre Dame thing? You and I were doing so well together until then.
Howard the 3, much improved over a year ago. He's averaging 14.5 a game. That's up from 4 and change a year ago.
And that's really a good sign for him, because he just hasn't shot the basketball well, and he hasn't struggled with confidence this year, something that we saw quite a bit last season. Part of that is because he's playing behind some pretty good guards, and like John Gillen, and so he loses confidence. Coach Boeheim would quickly hook him, but it's good to see him get going as Tyus Battle, his running mate. What a beautiful drive and finish.
Yeah, a nifty bucket for Tyus Battle, and a chance to tie the game at the free throw line as Anas Mahmoud got called for his first.
And this is what the game comes down to for Louisville. Can you keep those 2 guys in front? And so far they have not been able to keep Battle nor Howard out of the lane. Battle
Ties it from the free throw line. Syracuse lost 4 of its 5 top scorers from a year ago. Only Battle returned among the top 5 scorers. McMahon to Mahmoud, and a kick ball by Dolezaj. One of the reasons why Jim Boeheim's team still on Joey Brackett's radar is the next 4 out with an RPI of 45. They do play excellent defense, giving up 62.7 per game. That is 7th in the nation. And right on cue, Battle intercepts a lazy pass by McMahon and attacks the bucket and is fouled on the drive by McMahon. Now here's Jim Boeheim at tonight's Infinity Coaches Corner. One of the most charitably minded coaches in the country through his Jim and Julie Boeheim Foundation. Taking it.
Padgett has been alive. Padgett just 32, the youngest head coach in the Power 5 program. So I asked their players how they kind of show their age. Louisville's VJ Kings said they were watching clips of the Louisville-Kentucky game from years ago, and they wanted to see these physical matchups. They look and they're like, hey, that's Coach Padgett playing, and it wasn't that long ago. He was here from 2005 to 2008. Well, Tyus Battle for Syracuse said that a lot of times Boeheim will be telling stories about players, using them as examples, and he's like, I have no idea who he's talking about because it's so long ago. So 2 very different coaches from different eras, but both leading their teams well here so far, guys.
All right, Allison, thank you. Coach Boeheim now with the lead. Of course, both of them outstanding players. Jim Boeheim walked on in the early 60s, was a backcourt mate of Dave Bing. Played professionally in the old Eastern League, and Dave Padgett, all Big East player not that long ago.
Well, Dave Padgett used to destroy Notre Dame when he was playing, and I was doing games on radio. And then Coach Boeheim recruited me. Syracuse was one of my Final 4 schools.
You didn't get in?
No. I wanted business instead of communications.
The Ellises and the Boeheims are teaming up. You were telling me your son is a teammate of Buddy Boeheim, Coach Boeheim's son up at Brewster Academy in New Hampshire. Buddy's coming to play for his dad next year. Counted for Ray Spalding. And a chance for a 3-point play and for Padgett's team to reclaim the lead.
Yeah, the ball movement for Louisville at times here in the first half has absolutely been superb, and that's exactly what you want to do. Again, get into that ACC area. What a beautiful bounce pass underneath. And Ray Spalding has become so good at finishing around the basket with either hand.
That was a second foul on Moyer, who came in for Chukwu when he went out with 2. So Chukwu's back in. And Matthew Moyer with a word of advice from the Hall of Fame coach. He might be 73, but he told me earlier today he has weighed exactly the same for about the last 25 years. Still very active in Pilates. And
really?
Of course, with young children, that keeps you young as well.
That's right. Julie's got him on a strict diet as well.
One of the great overachievers in marriage. By his own addition. O'Shea Brissett the dunk. And Syracuse, we mentioned earlier at the top of the telescope, Boeheim says this is the worst offensive team he's had. But every now and then, in spurts, they make shots, they move the ball. They look like a team that's capable of more.
Yeah, they just don't have that three-point sniper that they've had over the last 9 years that I've been at ESPN. Andy Rauten's back in the day. Now they'll have one next year because Buddy Boeheim can flat out shoot it. Last game they played for Brewster Academy, he and my son Walter played together. Had 7 made threes in their last game.
Buddy did.
Buddy did.
And Coach Boeheim very excited about the recruiting class coming next year. Battle, the runner wouldn't go, and it is just ripped out of the air by Spalding. And then he lost it out of bounds. Officials confirming it's going to be Syracuse ball.
Well, folks, watch Brissett here, just moving across the lane, and this kid's got a high ceiling. I think he's going to be the next Syracuse star. He's an excellent rebounder, averaging about 9 per game, around 15 points as well. And I don't think he knows how good he is yet. This kid can absolutely dominate a game.
Spalding just rebounds and elevates with ease. The outlet to Adele, attacking, and a foul. So Louisville will have a chance to go back on top in this back and forth first half on Big Monday, the start of rivalry week, every announcer's least favorite week because it's difficult to say. And then they add Wendy's to rivalry week, and you get all kinds of things that make it sound like Elmer Fudd.
You did that really well, by the way.
Trying my best. I'm always hungry here in the KFC Yum Center, exclamation point included.
You could be like Billis and request some ice cream.
It's unbelievable. Shameless. And the foul difficulty continues for Syracuse. 2 fouls now on Dolezaj. There's Adrian Autry, one of Jim Boeheim's assistants. Staff full of Syracuse graduates among the assistants. Audrey, Alan Griffin, and Jerry McNamara. Speaking of guys who could shoot it.
Absolutely. Red Autry was the lead point guard my senior year back 91-92 season at Notre Dame. And talk about big guards that can get a lot done. He was certainly one of those guys.
Talk about coaching staff. To me, it's impressive what David Padgett has done. Struggles for Dolezaj, and finally he had it flicked away by Malik Williams. Numbers for Louisville. They couldn't capitalize. A step back 3 for Dengadell, well short. And Spalding lucky he wasn't called for a foul on the rebound by Frank Howard. And now Howard is fouled. Super Tuesday, that'd be tomorrow. Follows Monday. It's presented by Boost Mobile. 7 right down the road. Allison Williams will be there for Tennessee and Kentucky. And then 4th-ranked Michigan State takes on Iowa in Iowa City. That's a Big Ten matchup, of course. Both of these are rivalry week games presented by Wendy's on ESPN and the ESPN app.
I think for Kentucky to make that next step, Kevin Knox has to be the dude and know it. I mean, we've seen him do it on occasions recently with a 30-plus game, but he's got to be the guy that's getting them 20 points a night every single night.
In the SEC, both teams chasing Auburn, one of the biggest surprise, perhaps the biggest surprise in the country. Bruce Pearl's team now number 8. Darius Perry into the game, attack from the wing, and a good catch and shoot by Malik Williams. He has 5, one more than he averages per game, and it's Louisville back on top.
Dribble penetration has been really good for Syracuse. Again, not relying on the three-point shot, but trying to get to the basket.
Brissett fouled on a long jump shot by VJ King, his first.
You never, ever want to foul a jump shooter, especially when they're behind the three-point line. For a team like Syracuse who struggles to score, you want to limit their easy opportunities.
Well, Brissett shooting three. We saw the coaching staff, David Padgett with Trent Johnson next to him, former Nevada, Stanford, LSU, and TCU coach, and Greg Paulus to Trent's left. And David Padgett, as many know, became the interim coach just a couple of days before practice began. He was here under Rick Pitino, but he had to put together a staff, and he said, I was incredibly fortunate that both Trent Johnson and Greg Paulus were available. He said, if I took the entire offseason to put together a staff, I wouldn't have done better than I've done with those two. And he is absolutely right. Those are two outstanding coaches.
Trent, obviously, with head coaching experience, and he can kind of help him navigate the X's and the O's, if you will, being in that front seat.
I spoke with Trent Johnson before the game tonight. I said, what were you doing? He said, I was at home playing with my grandchildren. He said, the happiest person in all this is my wife, because David Padgett got me out of the house. And Greg Paulus had been at Ohio State for many years with Thad Matta, and he was basically unemployed because Ohio State waited so long to replace Thad Matta and that staff. It was just a matter of time before he got back in, but he was delighted when he got the call. Corner jumper would not fall for Williams, but the offensive rebound by Spalding. Darius Perry, freshman out of Powder Springs, Georgia. Wheeler High School, which produced a lot of great players, including Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Smaller lineup on the floor right now, and Snyder called for a travel. Timeout, 7:55 to go in our first half here in Louisville. Orange on the road by one in North Carolina. That great rivalry renewed Thursday night at 8 right here on ESPN.
Luke May has had an outstanding year for North Carolina. The key for Duke in that game and going forward is, can they contain the dribble drive? They have been forced to go to a 2-3 zone because they couldn't contain the drive in man, and now they've not been able to do it in zone as well. So they've really struggled on the defensive end of the floor. North Carolina may be able to take advantage.
Is there a more surprising result in college basketball than what we saw Saturday at Madison Square Garden? Duke losing to a St. John's team that was 0-11 in the Big East.
And surprisingly, Shamari Pons goes for 33. He's their best player. They're playing without Marcus Levette, one of their best players, and so I'm really surprised that they wouldn't focus their attention defensively on him.
O'Shea Brissett, the three. Very quiet crowd, unusually so here at the Yum Center. A little uneasy, and even more so after the traveling call against VJ King, the sophomore from Cleveland. That is 6 Louisville turnovers, and they've been turnover plagued from time to time this year. Turnovers, defensive rebounding, two of the biggest problems that have popped up occasionally for David Padgett.
One of the things that Syracuse has done nicely is they were burning them, Syracuse, in the middle of that floor, and now Syracuse has taken that away and forces the basketball to stay on the wing. So now they got to get that thing reversed and look to drive the basketball.
Brissett, nice move, couldn't finish. Mississauga, Ontario. Nice pass underneath. And Spalding the finish off the feed from Darius Perry.
Louisville's always been much better when they're playing fast. They have size, length, and athleticism that can finish in transition. You saw it on full display there.
Perry deflected Howard's pass out of bounds.
Folks, watch as this basketball advance. McMahon doesn't hang on to it. Darius Perry sees Ray Spalding underneath, and that's the key to transition basketball. Don't hold on to it forever. I love how they were able to bang, bang, throw that thing inside to Spalding, and instead of thinking about a quick move and shooting the hook over the top. Well done by the Cardinals. Remember those old Celtic breaks when the ball never touched the floor?
Sure do.
2-3 passes and a layup, and the ball never touched the floor.
Howard fouled on the drive. Ryan McMahon frustrated as he gets called for his second.
Well, Sean, what they're doing right now is whoever they see McMahon guarding, they're moving the basketball and eventually putting him in an isolation situation, and they're just looking to take him off the dribble. His expertise is his ability to be able to shoot the basketball from three. Not great defensively yet.
5 team fouls on Louisville. Howard gets the bounce, and he has 10 for Coach Boeheim.
Really struggled over the last 2 games shooting the basketball from the floor. 8 of 34 over the last 2 games in those 2 losses. And as we said at the top, they cannot win without Howard and Battle shooting the basketball well on the offensive end because of the limitation of their frontline players offensively.
That could be 3 on Chukwu as the ball moves so quickly again for Louisville inside. Oh, they credited the foul to O'Shea Brissett, so that's a break. But they have just about everybody with 2 fouls, and as we said, they played only 6 men.
Yes.
On Saturday. Syracuse has the top 3 players in the ACC in minutes played. Battle 38.5. Brissett just more than 38 minutes per game, and Howard a fraction under 38 minutes per game, and they are all the top 8 in the country in minutes played out of 351 teams. So coach frequently does not have a deep bench, but that has been stretched to the extreme this season.
Really has. And they just don't have the depth. They've had injuries.
Chukwu, a high percentage shot.
Several injuries have made what was already a short bench. But Chukwu's finishing around the rim like that. That's a plus for the Cuse.
Whoa, Spalding went for the one-handed throwdown that might have brought this very quiet crowd to life. Crowd thought Battle traveled, and his one-handed floater goes. And Syracuse, which scored 44 points at home on Saturday for the game, has 31 with more than 5 minutes to go in the first half tonight.
And folks, this is what's been going on. Chukwu with a strong finish there around the rim, but they've not been able to contain Tyus. Battle's got it going early for the Cuse.
Welcome back to Louisville. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Sean McDonald, LaFonso Ellis, and Allison Williams. Our producer, Eric Mosley. Our director, Eddie the Eagle. Jeff Evers back in the chair tonight after a little mishap on the bunny slopes of Pennsylvania a week and a half ago.
I've been telling him about those skis, man. He's got to become a snowboarder like me.
Yeah, he tore, I think, every ligament in his body, but when you're not an athlete, that is much more likely to happen.
Wow. I'm with you, Eagle.
Well, there's a foul. Howard, no argument from him, raised his hand. He hit Deng Adel while shooting a 3. First foul on Frank Howard, much to the chagrin of Mr. Happy Coach Jim Boeheim. Very sarcastic nickname that we have applied to Coach Boeheim over the years, and because his wife Julie likes it,
yes,
we have stuck with it.
I got it.
Mr. Happy Coach does not complain. Actually called Mr. Happy Coach.
It's so funny because Julie, she has like a perma smile. She's
Yes, she
always
does.
smiling. What a sweet lady. Got a chance to meet her when we were up, my wife and me, visiting Brewster for getting ready to watch the boys play a game, and what a lovely, lovely lady.
Is. Adele taking advantage of that opportunity. Syracuse was on an 11-3 run. Their lead now back down to 4, and again pressure, and this Louisville crowd trying to talk itself into getting involved in field. And Battle fouled, double team. Spalding a little bit too frisky.
Spalding couldn't quite gather his balance when he was running in, and that's a good call by the official. Watch, folks, as he's coming in to try to trap this basketball. Can't quite get his balance and runs right into Battle. That's a good call by the official.
Just the 6th-team foul, so they're still one away from the bonus. Chukwu transferred from Providence. Dolezaj didn't see the pass coming, rescued by Howard. Down to 3 on the shot clock. Frank Howard, nothing but net. Tough shot, drifting to his left. And that pass touched by Brissett last. It'll be Louisville ball.
Yeah, we talked about earlier, this is what the game's going to come down to. Can Louisville contain the dribble penetration of Howard and Battle? So far in this game, they've not been able to. And that's when you know you got to go in, when you're taking and making tough shots. That was a very tough shot that Howard knocked down. But those are the kind of shots that he and Battle are going to have to make against this tough defensive Louisville team to win on the road.
Howard leads all scores with 13. Battle has 7. Mahmoud, the little jump hook wouldn't go. Tipped up and in by Dangadell.
Dangadell's really picked up his rebounding in ACC play. 3 double-digit rebounding games, 0 in non-conference play.
Dolezaj, more confident shooter lately, and knocks one home from the elbow. He has 6. Freshman from Slovakia. I got an email from one of his coaches in Slovakia calling their attention to Dolezaj. Didn't know much about him, watched some tape, liked what they saw, went and visited him, and now he's a member of the Orange. 7 turnovers for Louisville and a timeout. All right, Carl, yeah, this has been an offensive explosion for Syracuse relative to recent performances. They scored 47 points in the first half against Boston College January 24th. Their only first half in the last 8 games with more than 28 points. And they have 35 and a chance for more as they'll shoot free throws on the attack by Battle and the second foul on Darius Perry of Louisville.
Yeah, the inability to contain the dribble drive is what hurt Louisville here. They generally do a pretty good job of pinching in, and there's really 2, 3 non-shooters out there for Syracuse, and so I think at times Louisville's got to close that gap to keep them from getting into the gap. And so far they've not done it, and Howard and Battle have made them pay.
And guys, as you can imagine, during that last timeout, it was all about the defense for Louisville. David Padgett imploring his guys to play with some urgency on that end. He said we need to get 3 stops in a row, win the final 4 minutes, and then we can get to the half and go over some adjustments. But right now, it's about playing with urgency.
And not turning it over. Dell's pass too hot for Mahmoud to handle. 2.5 minutes to go in the half. Syracuse leading now by 10. Off the strong drive by Tyus Battle, largest lead for either team tonight.
Another drive-by. And when you get those quick blow-bys, I don't care how good your rotations are, it is difficult to get there to challenge the shot.
And now a moving screen, I believe, is the call against Ray Spalding, his second.
And folks, Battle loves to get to his right hand, so you have to take that away. Darius Perry goes for a ball fake, which got him lifted off the floor, which opens the right side for Battle to be able to attack. He's been terrific here, especially in the last 4 minutes of this game.
Double figures now with 11. Been in double figures in all but 1 game this year. 2 minutes to go in the half. Howard underneath. Ooh, there is what a reluctant shooter Chukwu is, alone about 6 feet from the bucket. Didn't even look at it. Brissett, the scoop that wouldn't go. Dolezaj kept it alive. And they got called for a foul. The mock cheer goes up from the crowd. That's 3 on Dolezaj.
Sean, I don't know if I've ever seen, I've been coming here for many years. I don't know if I've ever seen or ever heard the Louisville crowd be so quiet.
It's very quiet in here. And it is very unusual. Of course, one of the great fan bases in America. Annually in the top 10 in home attendance. It's always the highest rated college basketball TV market.
And I think the players are playing pretty tight, and so I don't know if they're quiet because they can sense that the players are playing tight, or if the players are playing tight because there's no energy in the building.
Mahmoud 1 out of 2. In the last 3 games for Syracuse, Saturday against Virginia, they scored 21 in the first half. The game before that against Georgia Tech, they scored 21 in the first half. And the game before that, Syracuse scored 22 in the first half. So this is out of nowhere. 39. Deep miss by Howard. Under a minute and a half to go in the half. Louisville trying to go on a run before the break. Out of the corner, the 3-ball is short from Dwayne Sutton. Redshirt sophomore transferred in from UNC Asheville. Battle had it poked away by Sutton.
Now, Sean, the one thing that I noticed that's very different for Syracuse tonight is in the last 2-3 games or so, Battle and Howard really haven't had any gaps to attack because the spacing out there on the offensive end was so poor. Tonight, the floor is nice and spread, and that's why they're able to get to the gaps.
It's tough to create gaps because when you have a couple guys on the floor, the other team doesn't have the guard. They just come off those men and block the gaps. Matthew Moyer called for his third. So perhaps the team in the country with the least depth has foul difficulty now. 3 for Dolajai on the bench, 3 for Moyer, 2 for Brissett and Chukwu. And as a result, Coach Boeheim is going to go deep down the bench. Here's Braden Bayer, redshirt junior from LaGrangeville, New York. In for Moyer.
To Grinnell College, and if you don't know much about Grinnell College, they may lead the country in number of threes taken per game, and so he may be able to give them some firepower from the perimeter, which will space out that defense of Louisville even more.
Bayer has played 3 minutes this year. So we talk about how unlikely his appearance is. 3 games for a total of 3 minutes. He has scored 1 basket.
We got something in common. This is my first big Monday.
I know, and you've been outstanding. Not a lot of pressure though when you have to step in for Billis. Brissett couldn't finish.
Flattery gets you everywhere. I got your dinner tonight, buddy.
All right. That shot way off. You can see that out of the hand of Jason Wara, a freshman from Buffalo, New York. His dad, Alex, longtime head coach at Erie Community College in Buffalo. Timeout. Shot clock off. So Jim Boeheim dropped the last play of the half, trying to take a double-digit lead in a big surprise into the locker room. NBA Wednesday, it's a doubleheader. Jimmy Butler and the Timberwolves taking on King James and the Cavs. Is he still the king? Boy, they are struggling.
They are.
That's at 8 p.m. Then the Spurs in the beautiful Valley of the Sun to take on Devin Booker and America's team, the Phoenix Suns. Our coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 7 on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Sean, I thought Devin Booker would be able to score in our league. I just didn't know he'd be able to score as much as he has. And because of some injury issues right now, they even have him playing at the point guard spot. He's starting at the point guard spot. And so that's just going to broaden his game even more, learning how to read coverages on ball screen situations, whether they're icing it, doubling it. And wow, I've been really impressed with this play.
Yeah.
Now we need to get him on a winning team.
So we can trade a draft pick or 2, perhaps a free agent or 2, and look out for the Suns. Clearly on the way up.
Usually they go to a high ball screen in this situation, but they may just allow Battle to go one-on-one.
Kicked it out, and a travel. How about that option? The last play of the half, was that the way it was designed?
Well, I think they wanted Battle, who looks like he's lost the contact lens here. Yeah, he's putting it back in. Man, I can't imagine what that's like, getting it on your salty hands and then having to put it back in your eye. Ouch.
You think they wanted the last shot of the half from a guy who's taken one shot the whole year?
Well, I think what they did, it was clear Battle wanted to see which way he was going to be able to attack, and once he got in the lane, Bear became wide open, and I think Bear should have caught that ball and just shot it. But dang, Adele, what an alert play to get out there and take that three away, creating that travel. That's disgusting.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I had the laser surgery.
I really, my wife wears them. My youngest son, Walter, I don't know how they do that.
And the crowd's getting restless. I don't want to take him out of the game with 2.7 to go. They might not have anybody else to put in.
Ty's just said, don't worry about it. I get it at half. I'll play without it.
Defend my guy with one eye.
That's awesome.
Keep an eye on your man, literally. All right, can they hoist up a shot? It's a long one at the buzzer! And a much-needed lift for Louisville. Darius Perry
gives them instant energy off the bench with his pressure. Thornton with this pressure D 94 feet, but that time gave them a much-needed. Look how quickly he gets this basketball up the floor. And no one really comes up and meets him, and he's able to get a clean look at that. What beautiful form and follow through. A big confidence and momentum boost for the Cardinals.
His only bucket of the half. At the half. 39-33 Syracuse. Let's send you back to the studio now. Here's the Alfa Romeo halftime report. Star, let's go back to your Fonz's focus from before the game.
Well, we talked about coming into this game, the poor shooting of Frank Howard and Tyus Battle over the last two games, 18 of 68 from the field. They needed to be aggressive early, and they were. They were able to attack and get in the lane. Combined 24 points by those two guys. More importantly, 7 of 14 from the floor, 2 of 4 from three.
Louisville turned it over 9 times. That was a problem. Syracuse had 16 points off turnovers. Louisville just 3 points off turnovers. They tried to speed the Orange up, but Syracuse did a good job with the ball. Oh boy, Battle, that looked like it could have been nasty. Good to see him get back up quickly. And with the shot clock running out, O'Shea Brissett rattled one home. He has 9. The lead is 9. Their largest lead in the first half was 10.
Everything right now coming over into this second half until that three ball favoring Syracuse. They've been able to get the 50-50 balls much more quickly throughout the balance of this game. And for Louisville to get back into this game, they've got to get some stops.
Quentin Snyder's three, his first basket of the game, is their second leading scorer for the year, coming in at 13 points per game. Just the third three of the game for Louisville. Brissett, good job to get Adele in the air and draw the foul. That's the first foul on Adele. A moment ago, Allison spoke with David Padgett.
David, what are the defensive adjustments you need to make on Howard and Battle?
Well, we just need to play harder. It's as simple as that. We're just not playing very hard on defense, and you know, for us to allow them to come in here and score 39 in the first half is unacceptable.
Syracuse has 4 players with 2 or more fouls. Can you use that against them in the second half and utilize some of your depth that you have?
Well, with the exception of some turnovers, it's not our offense. We're not playing defense right now, and we haven't been the last couple games. We got to get figured out this half.
Coach, thanks.
All right, Allison, thank you. 1 out of 2 for O'Shea Brissett, and the Syracuse lead is 7.
And to Alice's point, one of the things that Louisville has always done well is they've been able to contain dribble penetration as Malik Williams knocks down that 15-foot jump shot. That was absent there in the first half. So in order for them to climb back in this game, they've got to be able to contain the drive.
Dolezaj with foul trouble crashed the offensive glass. Brissett is open for 3.
That's a bad sign right there when O'Shea Brissett, who shoots 31% from the three-point line, starts knocking down the 3.
And a bucket for Spalding, and he'll have a chance for a 3-point play. 10 points for Spalding, and O'Shea Brissett called for the foul for Syracuse.
And I like when Louisville is pushing the pace. They've been able to get something on the initial transition, and then when they have it in their secondary break, there's been some great opportunities, as you saw on that play there. I think not only do they have to get stops, by containing dribble penetration when they're on the defensive end. When they go on offense, they have to get out and run. I think this team is at their best with the athleticism and the length that they have on this team when they're out in transition.
Foul on Brissett, his third. So Moyer on the bench with 3. Dolezaj and Brissett starters playing with 3 apiece.
It's a really nice job there, one-on-one by Deng.
Shot clock running out. Dolezaj nearly threw it in the Ohio River that runs just outside this beautiful 8-year-old building on a chilly night in downtown Louisville with the temperature in the mid-20s. This crowd starting to warm up. It was frosty here last night. Some snow, a little flurry activity, and the wind chill down in the single digits as we walk back from watching the very exciting Super Bowl.
That wind was ridiculously hard last night.
We should note Syracuse traveling party had a tough time getting here. Their plane got stuck in Wisconsin. They were about 4 hours late, didn't arrive till almost 10 o'clock last night, and unfortunately for them, they missed most of the Super Bowl. Dolezaj had the pass hit him in the face. Adele fouled. And that could be number 4 on Brissett, and that is a huge blow to Syracuse's upset hopes tonight here in Louisville.
Well, we talked about the pace that they need to play with. And I love what Louisville is doing here in the second half. They are intentional about trying to create some pace, get ahead of that 2-3 zone that they've had a very difficult time of running their offense against. I like what they've done here in the second half.
Adele has 7. He's their leading scorer, 16 per game, just under. So Brissett goes to the bench with those 4 fouls. He's the 3rd leading scorer and number 1 rebounder for the year. And Matthew Moyer is not a scorer at all on the floor for the Cuse. He averaged just 4 points per game. He's kind of boosted that average by having a couple of surprising games where he scored in bunches. But more often than not, that's not his contribution.
And Brissett also a terrific free throw shooter for a front liner, 80%. They're really going to miss his presence. Now Howard and Battle have to do even more on the offensive end.
Howard does his part. The right-handed, one-handed floater. Adele was calling for the ball. Ooh, almost got stuck in the air. Got bailed out by Malik Williams.
He should have taken that shot. When he can get inside the foul line, that's his shot. He's really good on pull-up J's.
Adele missed the 3. Moyer just took his eye off the ball, and it's going to lead to a bucket by Adele. David Padgett, I'm not sure, loved the degree of difficulty, and I think he might have hurt himself while hot-dogging a little bit. Yeah, Dell's limping.
Yes, he is. I think it's his left leg. He was really going to wind up and try to rock that thing, and I think he pulled something on the way.
Sometimes the good old-fashioned layup is the best way to go, said the cranky old man. 16 minutes to go in Louisville.
ESPN's exclusive presentation.
Sean McDonough, Alfonso Ellis, Allison Williams back in Louisville. Syracuse in dire need of a victory to enhance its tournament resume. Currently 4-6 in ACC play. Has the lead, and that lead is 6, at least for the time being. Officials signaled to the scorers table to mark that one. They might take a longer look at it, see if it might have been a 3, but for now it's a 2. In the first half of our Big Monday doubleheader, West Virginia and Oklahoma. How will Trae Young handle that press Virginia defense? In the second half of this Big Monday doubleheader, Deng Adel was getting medical attention. Left briefly, went to the dressing room. He's back on the Louisville bench.
It's good to see, because with what they're trying to accomplish and get to an NCAA tournament, they could ill afford to lose his production on the offensive end or his defense on the other end.
Yeah, that was a long heave by Snyder with still 7 on the shot clock. And then the crowd thought Dolezaj got away with a foul here, or
actually,
Chukwu.
that was Chukwu.
Yeah, Chukwu did.
It should have been a foul. Missed one there.
Yeah, that's a huge miss because that would have been 3 on Chuku. Good boy. Moyer scores. He dropped it in. His first bucket. First bench points of the game for Syracuse. They only had 4 players take a shot in the game against Virginia on Saturday. Nice passing again. Spalding down to Malik Williams, and Williams has 9.
I like what Louisville is doing right now against that 2-3 zone. They are getting it into the ACC area via the pass, and then nice little bounce pass to the short corner. Execution's been pretty.
Boy, Battle exploded down the lane for 2. He has 15.
Louisville's had no answer for him off the dribble. Ray Spalding is open down there at times. Got to get that ball to him.
Perry, who hit the 3 at the halftime buzzer from long range. Chuku kept the rebound alive. Howard, boy, that's terrible defense, and he missed the layup. He had a clear path all the way to the bucket and just missed it. Malik Williams missed the 3. Battling, and a foul called. And it's against Louisville, and the crowd can't believe it. They thought it was going on Tyus Battle. Instead, it's the 3rd on Ray Spalding.
I was shielded from that one, partner. I couldn't really see.
Well, it might have been over the back there for sure. Perry.
There's a lot of contact there.
Yeah. And then he got banged, but I think originally Battle might have been called for the foul over the back of Darius Perry.
They definitely called the second one there. It was a foul, but they missed the first one.
Chuku. Wow, wild shot, but Moyer's there. He missed the chippy. And again, no offense to Moyer, but if that's Brissett, that's probably a bucket.
That's exactly right. That's a dunk.
Be interesting to see how long Jim Boeheim keeps Brissett on the bench with his 4 fouls. Little pull-up shot wouldn't go from Jason Wara. Averaging 5 points per game, capable of a big night. He had 15 against Boston College in mid-January.
Really good 3-point shooter as well. 38% from 3 on the year.
Moyer. 5 to shoot. Battle, tough 3. Chuku dropped it in. Battle thought he was hit on the arm. And a timeout called by David Padgett. Battle might have had a point. That shot came up way off, unusual from him. With Texas Tech and Kansas atop the Big 12. How about Texas Tech, number 7 in the country? I don't think anybody saw that coming. Ryan McMahon tried to sell the foul, and then Howard fouled Anas Mahmoud. Second foul on Howard. 3 team fouls on Syracuse, just 2 on Louisville. 10-point lead for the Cuse. They're on an 8-2 run over the last 3.5 minutes. McMahon fouled by Howard. That's 2 quickies.
I think Coach Boeheim's going to have to have a lot to say about that possession there.
We went back and looked at the shot that Battle took right before the
Yeah.
TV timeout. He was fouled while shooting a 3. Didn't get the call, but there's no doubt that was also a foul on Frank Howard. His 3rd. So Ryan McMahon is the free throw shooter.
3-point specialist with deep range. Florida State was actually able to get out to him. He had, in 18 minutes, he had 0 field goal attempts in that game. They completely took him out of the basketball game. And this is what happens at times, is a guy who maybe hasn't been involved in the offense, who could shoot it the way he does. You give him 3 easy opportunities to look at the rim. Now all of a sudden all of a sudden he can find his range and start knocking down perimeter shots.
He doesn't shoot many free throws because he is really a perimeter player. Those are just his 17th, 18th, and 19th free throws, but he's now made 17 out of 19 for the year. Howard needs to be careful. Almost used his free arm to shove McMahon away. Under 12 minutes to go. Louisville's won 5 out of the last 6 head-to-head against Syracuse. Howard for 3. Moyer active on the offensive glass, couldn't keep it alive.
Love the push.
With the bench on the floor, the nice finish by Wara. A lot of bench players out there right now for David Padgett, and they're bringing Louisville back into the game, back within 5. Crowd as loud as it's been all night. Dolezaj poked away. Good defense by Dwayne Sutton. 11 to shoot after immediate timeout.
And folks, we've talked about how important it is for Louisville to get out in transition, take advantage of that length and athleticism on the perimeter. Wara getting it done in transition.
Trade time. Look at some of the great highlights of this incredible freshman year for Trae Young. Keith Olbermann on where Tom Brady ranks. He's still the greatest of all time.
I think he's the GOAT.
500 plus yards, even losing in the Super Bowl.
At 40.
Crowd going crazy, and Howard held a finger up to his lips and piped down as he hits a huge 3. The lead back to 8 for Syracuse. They've led through much of the night now.
He's now 3 for 5 from 3 in this game. Boy, he and Battle have come to play tonight as Wara continues to contribute on the offensive end. And Louisville's found their range here in the half court against that 2-3 zone. The question is, again, can they stop Battle? Can they stop Howard? And they've not been able to do that so far.
Moyer, a miss. Chuku attacks. And Battle couldn't keep it in the front court. And again, great effort by Moyer, and he's frustrated with himself. You wonder how much longer Jim Boeheim might not be. It's going to be right now. He answered the question. O'Shea Brissett coming back in with the 4 fouls. And Jim Boeheim extends the hand. No question about Moyer's effort level when you watch him play. Redshirt freshman out of Gahanna, Ohio, broadcast journalism major in the prestigious Newhouse School of Communications. See, I throw in those plugs every now and then. That I don't have to send any alumni donations.
I was going to say, you're working it well.
Moyer may have our job someday, and it won't be long from now. Howard, whoa! A one-handed scoop in traffic, and he has 20.
But again, look who was guarding him there. Remember I said earlier, anytime they see Ryan McMahon guarding either of those 2 guards, Howard or Battle, they're going to look to clear it and attack him right away.
Oh, Wara, long 3. He's been good, but that's not the shot Louisville wanted. Every time they put a little game pressure on Syracuse, the Orange has a response.
He can make that shot, but I'd much rather have him take that shot on the reversal of the basketball, which Louisville did not get. It's good patience there.
Syracuse spreading the floor. Brissett didn't take long to get warm. Right off the bench, jacks a air ball 3.
One of my old coaches, Dan Issel, used to say, before you take that shot, you need to get a lather going, and his skin's pretty dry right now.
Nice pass by McMahon into Mahmoud. Sutton kept it alive. Mahmoud down the lane, way off. And a foul on Louisville on the follow-up activity as someone was on the back of Dolezaj. I believe it was Dwayne Sutton. It was, and it's his first.
Keep your eyes on 24 and white here as Mahmoud goes inside. Oh, I'm not sure about that one, my friend.
Well, he might have extended the right arm to shove Dolezaj away, but I think they're going to get an argument either way. Battle taking over the ball handling now with Howard playing off the ball for Syracuse. Pull up 3. Wow.
Yeah, no disrespect for Ryan McMahon, but they are torching him wherever they find him on the floor. I think you got to make a substitution to get VJ King back into the game.
And King has gone to the bench, to the scorer's bench, to check in. 17 points for Battle, 20 for Howard. Again, carrying the load for Syracuse. Adele, he knew as soon as he let it go, it was off, jumped in the air, trying to give it a little help. So with 8 minutes to go, a Syracuse bucket would give the Orange the largest lead of the night. Brissett working on Perry, who got called for a reach-in foul as the much bigger Brissett was about to spin away. Third foul on Darius Perry, and immediate timeout.
Howard and Battle are carrying the Syracuse Orange on.
Was recruited by Jim Boeheim before he went to play basketball in Duke and came back to Syracuse as a graduate to quarterback the football team in 2009. Now, after football season, he took advantage of being at Syracuse, and he would be around the basketball programs and make a point to go to opposing teams' practices and shoot-arounds whenever he could to learn from those coaches and network with them. So even as he continued his education at the esteemed Newhouse School, he was working on his basketball education as well.
Esteemed is a good word, Allison. Prestigious, whatever you want to call it, they all fit. Battle fouled on the drive. Craig Paul's a great guy, still has family in the Syracuse area. Imagine that, you go play basketball, score over 1,000 points at Duke, and then you come back to your hometown and play football, and you're the starting quarterback for a year, set the single season passing completion percentage, about 67% completed that year, after not having played football obviously in years. And a terrific guy too.
Yes, he is. It's Paulus's world, man. Next thing you know, he's going to be sitting over here next to you with the headset on.
I don't know, man. I'm not letting you get away. Phyllis can make other plans for next Monday night. 12-point lead, largest of the night for Syracuse. Now, Joe Lunardi with Syracuse with a win tonight has them as the first team out. Right now, they're the next 4 out. There's a tip in. Of course, a long way to go in this one. But Syracuse in the next 4 out. But he has them as the first team out of the field if they can pull off the upset against the Louisville team with a strong resume. Boy, good catch by Chuku, the pass by Brissett.
You make a great point about Louisville's resume of the 7 losses that they have. The teams were either ranked then or are ranked now.
Well, their first loss was at Purdue, and that was a 1-point game down the stretch.
Top 3 team in the league, in the country now.
Seton Hall, ranked at the time, as you said. No disgrace there. They got blown out by Kentucky. That looks like an outlier now. They lost in overtime at Clemson, a top 20 team. They lost in overtime at Miami. They're in the top 25 again this week. We're down by 5 at Virginia with under 4 minutes to go. Wound up losing by 10. The only one that really I think they were disappointed about that they couldn't explain was the loss to Florida State here on Saturday. And I think this will be regarded as their worst loss if it goes in the loss column. But as you said, a long way to go. Spalding the dunk. Excuse me. Yeah, Spalding from Mahmoud.
Again, they've done a great job in the half court of being able to get that basketball into that ACC area and make a play. That time it was a pass to that area and then a nice little drop down pass to Spalding underneath for Mahmoud. I've been really impressed throughout the course of this game with their ability to find each other around the rim.
Howard got kneed down to the ground as he started to drive by.
But he landed on that hand. He's had a little gimpy wrist there on his left hand. You can see him wearing that little protective little band there, and I think he fell right on that hand.
It's a foul that puts Louisville over the limit. It's the second personal on Deng Adel. Oh yeah, landed awkwardly. Even if it wasn't hurt before, he might have just injured it on that fall without the history.
Yeah, and then it's not his shooting hand, it's his guide hand on his shot. But you know, even so, with the way that he and Battle have shot the basketball tonight, you still need to have a good guide hand on that basketball.
Yeah, they cannot afford an injury to him. He's emerged as a key factor after being a role player on their team a year ago. You wonder about the depth and where they might be if Torian Thompson hadn't at the last minute, right before the year started, really decided to transfer to Seton Hall, where he's sitting out. Talented offensive player in the front court, not a very good defender.
Right.
It certainly would have helped them through some of their scoring struggles. 1 out of 2 for Howard. The lead is 10 for Syracuse.
He and Brissett would have made a nice tandem on that front line.
They're starting to score with ease inside, with Chukwu and in particular Brissett with foul trouble. They seem to be backing off, and Louisville wisely keeps pounding it into the interior. This is right around the point where Coach Boeheim over the years has pulled the plug on the offense a bit. Bad pass by Brissett. Dolezaj hustled back. Crowd can't believe there wasn't a foul. And David Padgett is livid on the Louisville bench. Looked like there was some bumping by Dolezaj as he tried to catch up.
And that's a foul.
No doubt.
That is definitely a foul. I think you got to keep giving that thing to Ray Spalding on the interior because of the foul trouble of that front line. The ball's got to find number 13 in white.
Yeah, they just keep doing it. Mahmoud over Brissett.
Another beautiful big-to-big pass, that time from Ray Spalding to Mahmoud. They've got to stay with it here.
Timeout, Syracuse. 5:21 to go. And I think part of the message for Jim Boeheim as he's talking to Brissett might be, even though you have 4 fouls, you have to defend a little bit.
At least keep your body in front.
Stand there like a statue every time Louisville throws the ball inside.
Watch this passing, folks. A little high screen there, a little dump down, and you don't just stand when you catch that basketball against Syracuse. What a beautiful cut by Mahmoud. And again, the awareness of Ray Spalding and Mahmoud to know where each other are on the floor, really impressive.
I would think out of this timeout, Brissett will be a more spirited defender. You know, this point, with Syracuse having a 6-point lead, you might as well defend a little bit harder. They'd be better off with Moyer to play defense.
Absolutely.
That's the way Brissett was going to defend.
Absolutely. And I said R. That should have been is. I was an accounting major.
And will they go to the clock-killing offense that has been a staple of the Boeheim era with a lead? Makes sense. On the road, a team with foul trouble and shorthanded. Howard's runner wouldn't go. Batting around. There's another Syracuse foul. That'll be the 4th. Or I believe the 3rd on Chukwu. It's the 3rd on Chukwu. And they're not over the limit. That is team foul number 5 on Syracuse.
Coach Boeheim admonishing Pascal Chukwu, saying, just let it go. Just let it go, and we'll play defense on the other end. Continue to throw that ball inside Louisville.
Snyder's had a very quiet night. Adele underneath Mahmoud again. Very easy. They are pounding it inside and scoring at will. Louisville within 4. Battle, they need it. They don't get it, way off. Rebound by Spalding. And a foul against Syracuse. This is as close as Louisville has been since it was 48-44. That's the 6th team foul. And it is the 4th personal on Chukwu. So now both of those big men guarding underneath are playing with 4 fouls.
Yeah, I keep pounding it inside. Syracuse had no answer because of the foul trouble of the front liners.
Again, you wonder about fatigue. Only 6 men played for Syracuse Saturday against Virginia. Spalding fouled. Dolezaj raising his hand, hoping he gets called for it, because if it's on Chukwu, he's gone.
Louisville very fortunate there because Mahmoud threw a blind pass. Spalding wasn't even looking for the basketball. You see his eyes? Not even looking away. They were very fortunate not to turn that basketball over.
It is on Dolezaj, so now they all have 4 in that Syracuse front court. And here's some big free throws for Ray Spalding. Having another stat-stuffing night.
He's so good.
Emerging star, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He
junior.
Yeah, he does everything for this team. He blocks shots for him, scores, rebounds. Really worked on his post game this summer, and he's playing with a lot of confidence in this season.
A 12-point Syracuse lead down to 2. Spalding comes out perhaps just for a brief breather to get under the 4-minute media timeout. Fans on their feet.
Got to be Battle and Howard. And Brissett's got to get something going as well.
He attacks down the lane. He's fouled and will shoot 2 after that media timeout. Surprised you the most that they're having the success they're having. Auburn, Ohio State, Tennessee, Texas Tech are your choices. Go to facebook.com/SportsCenter to vote.
I've got Texas Tech as mine, and folks, if you've not had a chance to see them play, you've got to see one of the most explosive scoring guards in the country, in Keenan Evans. He has been terrific on the season.
I'll go with Auburn. Brissett, 2 big free throws to quiet the crowd for the moment.
Make a good point. Those 3 guards from Auburn, Bryce Brown, Mustafa Heron, and Jared Harper, are a handful to deal with.
Now Mahmoud and Spalding have scored the last 12 points for Louisville. They just keep attacking inside. They're both on the floor now. The free throws by Brissett ended an 8-0 run for Louisville. 3.5 to go. Snyder long with a 3, and the rebound snatched by Howard. And Battle barely crosses the half-court line and slows it down.
Syracuse did a much better job of handling the screening of the top. The guard was able to get over the top, and it takes away your ability to attack the gap. Well done there by Syracuse.
Coach Boeheim instructing Howard. Told him it was time to make a move. Tough runner. Mahmoud the rebound. Louisville looks to counterattack. And Spalding couldn't handle the pass from Snyder at the rim.
But I love the push.
And Syracuse will run some more clock down. They can take it down to under 2.5 minutes with the full clock. Clearing space for Battle. Boy, his shirt was grabbed.
That should be and one.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, you could see that. That was just a shirt yanked by Snyder that he got away with, perhaps because Battle gave him a little shove too. Huge bucket and a 6-point game.
Got to get some dives to the basket and allow the big pass from the top.
Dang, Adele, long 3, no. Questionable shot selection there. Spalding last to touch it as the ball was clanging around in his feet.
And folks, we've talked about for Louisville to be successful that they have to contain the drive. They've not been able to do so. Battle on the move. That's clearly a foul. He grabbed his jersey. Should be an and one opportunity. Should have been at the foul line.
You know, Coach Boeheim talked about when they make shots, because Howard and Battle are guys who shoot in the 30 percentile.
Yeah.
And here's Louisville tonight. That is number 17 in the country in field goal percentage D.
Yes.
And you have Syracuse, a team that has struggled for so much. They're shooting 48% for the night, when Louisville usually holds their opponents to under 40%.
Well, it's been the types of shots that they've gotten to, Sean. I do like the fact that early Frank Howard and Tyus Battle were looking to attack off the bounce. And again, if you're just kind of an average 3-point shooter, when you can see some of those balls going in at close range, now you get you a greater level of confidence to be able to shoot them. They're 6 of 13 from 3.
There's the Fonz's focus from the start of the game. They'd had a difficult time the last 2 games, and as you said, a lot of people struggle against Virginia. That was their last opponent. But 42 combined tonight. Allison?
Well, Fonzo was talking about how Louisville has to stop Syracuse from driving, and that was what David Padgett was just emphasizing from a defensive technique standpoint. He said, you guys, you cannot open your feet. You have to stay square and not let them have line drives. He acknowledged, he goes, I know it's easier to say than do, but that has to be the focus.
Yes.
Syracuse with the ball in a 6-point lead, under 2 minutes to go, 10 seconds on the shot clock, in dire need of a resume-building win at 4 and 6 in the ACC. Battle, tough shot, short all the way. Here's Adele with the push the other way for the Cardinals.
Problem is, no one was running with him.
No, Mahmoud's slow getting up the floor. Looked like he might have been limping a little bit.
Spalding's been awfully good. I think he's got to get a touch on this possession.
Oh, a little touch foul on the perimeter.
Ooh, that might be 5 on Brissett.
It is. And that's a bad foul with the ball way over on the sideline. And Brissett is fouled out.
As he tried, never got in good defensive position there. That's a good call by the official. And that's huge because Brissett is really good off the bounce. So it will give Syracuse a third guy who can really put it down and get to the rim. Number 2 in the ACC in free throws attempted with 132. Number 1 in free throws made with 105. That's a big loss for the Qs.
And because perhaps instead of him shooting foul shots, it'll be Moyer, who's only taken 26 free throws all year and made just 13. So Syracuse will try to keep the ball out of his hands. Brissett, despite the foul trouble, at 16 points, 8 rebounds.
That kid's going to be a monster.
Just needs to get a little stronger, a little more experienced. Front end of the 1-and-1 made by VJ King. Moments away from the start of West Virginia and Oklahoma, but it's been a terrific start to Big Monday and rivalry week here in the ACC. Louisville timeout within 4. 1:26 to go. So I think for Jim Boeheim's huddle here, Alfonso, pretty simple, as you've been saying. And it's really been the case for most here, especially without Brissett in the game now. It's Battle and it's Howard.
Absolutely, and they have to keep the floor spaced to allow them to be able to attack gaps. And they have to know the secondary defenders are coming over, so you got to be ready to make a pass. But their front liners aren't great out on the perimeter, so they have to make sure that they're in tight to make that pass to be able to finish around the rim. And for Louisville, they've got to continue to push with pace. I've been a little disappointed in their shot selection on their last 2 possessions. It's been Anas Mahmoud and Ray Spalding on the interior that have gotten them back in the game, and they've completely abandoned them.
Yeah, that was working perfectly for Louisville. They've gone away from that the last few possessions. They're bringing full court pressure. They're trying to get it to either Howard or Battle. Louisville, a good job of keeping it away from them. Dolajai, good job handling the ball.
And they'll wait to about the 12-second, around 10 seconds to be able to tap. A little high ball screen, or they may give it to him in an isolation.
Jim Boeheim holding up 2 fingers. 1 minute to go. Battle, shake and bake, threw up a one-hander. Dolajai tipped it in. And Mike Eads has blown the whistle outside.
He circled his finger, so I didn't know if he think it was a goaltend.
Well, I don't know if there's that or a question about the shot clock.
Let's see here. Let's count it down. Yes, could be a shot clock situation here. Let's see.
That ball's out of Battle's hand. It clearly hit the rim.
Hit the rim, yeah.
So that should count.
And so that's why I thought it could only be a goaltend situation.
Yeah,
But it was clearly out of the cylinder. Yeah. But remember we talked about in dribble penetration, keeping your bigs, those guys close to the rim. When they do take that shot, it puts them in perfect position to be able to offensive rebound the basketball. Nicely done by Dolajai.
Keith Kimball's coming over. He'll tell Alfonso what that was all about.
They want to make sure that they got the time right.
They're too. Take all the starch out of the game. I mean, I don't think anybody in the building would have been wondering why they, or would have been asking why they didn't stop the clock. What a bucket for Dolajai. He has 8 points. He's become more of a factor as he gains experience in his first battle, and Frank Howard have been outstanding tonight.
They really have been spectacular, and to be able to bounce back after 2 games where combined they shot 18 of 68 from the floor. They were active early, attacking the paint, not just settling for the jump shot in battle. Whew, man, was he able to get to the rim, putting him in isolation situations. And anytime they saw Ryan McMahon, number 30 in white for Louisville, guarding one of them, They spread the floor and attacked them off the bounce. I love the simplicity of the offensive attack by Boeheim.
Yeah, they're setting up for a three, down by 6. Very surprising with all the time left.
I don't like it.
And they've had a bad night, as we just said, shooting the threes. And they have been pounding it inside with success, and Brissett's out of the game.
Yeah, I'm really, as you can tell by me stuttering here, I'm just confounded by how they scored 12 straight points, Sean. 12 straight points, Anas Mahmoud and Ray Spalding, and they've completely abandoned that strategy.
Mahmoud called for his first foul. Louisville's 9th, so that's a 1-and-1, and Chukwu barely grazed the front rim.
Three-point shooters all over the floor here. You got to get some dribble penetration in the kick.
Syracuse guarding the line aggressively. Wow, Mahmoud was wide open in the lane, didn't even look at it. Wara makes a three. Took a long time, but they're within one possession. They get it into Howard, and McMahon fouls him with 25 seconds to go. What a big three by the freshman.
Yeah, Wara's 38% from 3. Clearly, he's got 4 3-point shooters around 1. And what a beautiful shot fake to get Frank Howard up in the air and a little sidestep into 3. What a confident-looking shot by the freshman.
So 2 free throws for Howard. Is that McMahon personal? Kicked it into the double bonus. He's a 75% free throw shooter for the year. Junior. Frank Howard.
Louisville's got to get this basketball in, Sean, and race it up the floor, but don't just settle for the 3.
1 out of 2. Adele.
Too much time.
Yep. Snyder. Adele. Great defense. Howard took it away. Battle with the ball. They need to foul, and Wara does with 11.2 seconds. But now even more of these fans are heading into the cold Kentuckiana night. And what a win this would be for Syracuse if this stands. A team that, as we have mentioned, really struggling offensively coming in.
Yeah, as that ball moves around the floor, Syracuse did a great job of stepping up and taking away that corner pass, because that's the pass that he really wanted off the dribble penetration. And the defense on the strong side of the floor for Syracuse in the last 3 minutes has been excellent.
If this goes into the L column for the U of L, that's 3 in a row and 4 out of 5 after they were cruising along. Adele, McMahon, somebody needs to shoot it. McMahon does for 3. And a couple of seconds might have come off the clock there. And Mike Eads again going to the clock operator.
Let's see here. Let's see when that basketball comes out of the net here. 2.5 should be.
Well, Jim Boeheim frustrated. This is the second time there's been a stoppage.
Because it allows Louisville now to set their defense.
Right, like it looked like they're about to resume. Michael Stevens now says, hang on a second, and he's in conversation over at the scores table.
So 2.6.
Mike's going to come over, and you can relay the message again. Yeah, it was for the runoff of the clock there after the hoop. 2.6. So Syracuse will need to inbound it. Louisville will go for the quick steal. And if not, the very quick foul, you would have to think.
Watch the home run pass here.
Into battle. Fouled by Adele. Jim Boeheim said when we visited today, I really like this team. They play hard. They're good kids. They play excellent defense. We're just so offensively challenged, but they have nights, as we quoted him as saying earlier, when the ball goes in the bucket, they make shots. You know, Battle shoots a lot, 42% for the year from the floor, 32 from 3. Howard in the high 30s from the floor. That's a huge free throw that should put it in the win column. Impressive win.
Really is. And you talk about those two guys, Sean. They got their share of open looks, but they made some tough challenge shots tonight, right over the top of that tough defense of Louisville.
They needed a win, and they get a resume enhancer. 78-73, Syracuse over Louisville. Coming up next, West Virginia and Oklahoma with Bob Wischusen and Fran Fraschilla. So long from Louisville.